this one. Over here. Over here.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Board of Selectmen's meeting for Wednesday, September 16th, 2015. At this time, I ask you all to join us in the pledges of allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to ask that we take out of order item 11B, acknowledgements. We have with us this evening at this time, and he's going to be going to a zoning board of appeals meeting in just a few minutes, our building commissioner, James Aguirre, and I'd like to have him come up here and join us if he would for just a couple of minutes while we extend to him a compliment that was paid to him by a former member of this board, and we were certainly very proud to hear it. Commissioner Aguirre has been on vacation recently, and he happened not to be in Town Hall on the day that Colonel Robert Perry of Stanzione Drive came to Town Hall, and he stopped both of us in the foyer and couldn't say enough good about the way that you had dealt with him in a project that he has going on at his home. He said there were some things that he didn't know, there were some things that he questioned, but you explained to him exactly what needed to be done. He appreciated the way that you worked with him, and he was gratified by the politeness and the effort to put your best foot forward. And coming from Colonel Perry, as I said, a former member of this board, it was very, very gratifying to hear.
Well, thank you very much, both of you.
Wow.
I appreciate that. Colonel Penny's a fine man, and I'm grateful for the service he did to this country, but I treated him like I treat everyone in my office, and I'm here to serve the public, all of you, and I do that day in and day out. So it's a great community. I'm glad I'm here, and it's nice to be recognized, so I appreciate that.
Well, we wanted to be sure that he knew that we passed that compliment along.
Well, thank you very much.
Good luck, that's the...
Thank you very much.
Good luck. Take care, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, we also have on the agenda, we had John Horner, who has spent his summer working with the Highway Department as one of the part-time laborers. We had projected that he would be in at 7:30 to say a few words about his summer with the Highway Department. It could be that he'll be here before the adjournment, but he is not here at this time.
All right. We'll jump right down to approval of the minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the minutes of the department heads meeting of September 2nd, 2015 stand approved as prepared for our approval by the administrative assistant.
Step down in second. Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? If none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the minutes of the regular meeting of this board of September 9th, 2015 stand approved as prepared for our approval by the administrative assistant.
I'll step down in second. Any further discussion? None being, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Next on the agenda, approval of the warrants.
Mr. Chairman, I move that warrant 12A-16 in the amount of $74,513.84 dated September 16th, 2015, and warrant 12B-16 in the amount of $136,957.56 dated September 16th, 2015, stand approved as prepared for our approval by the Assistant Town Accountant, Linda McCarron.
I'll step down and second that motion. Any further discussion? If there isn't any, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Correspondence. First piece of correspondence we have is from Kevin Braga, principal of Dighton Rehoboth Regional High School, regarding a meeting on September 2nd, 2015. For those of you that were with us on Wednesday, September 2nd, we had a little kickoff to the opening of schools with Principal Kevin Braga here, and it's a nice visit. We had him up here at the Selectman's table, and he responded to his visit here that night, and I'd like to read this to you. Very personal, heartfelt correspondence, as you can see, in his own handwriting. And it's addressed, Dear Selectman, I want to express my sincere appreciation for inviting me to the Board of Selectmen's meeting on September 2nd, 2015. I was truly humbled by your remarks and comments regarding Dighton Rehoboth Regional High School. I have been fortunate to work with so many exceptional and supportive educators. In addition, I have had the opportunity to meet so many great members of our community. I look forward to working together on future initiatives, and please feel free to contact me if there is anything Dighton Rehoboth Regional High School can do to support our community. Again, I thank you for the opportunity and appreciate your kind words and continued support. Sincerely, Kevin P. Braga, Principal of Dighton Rehoboth Regional High School. Very, very nice personal letter. Believe me, this board does not get a lot of these. We do appreciate his feelings and his thoughts back to us. Patrick?
He's a fine principal. The school system is blessed to have him. Our young people are in excellent hands. He's a capable leader, dedicated educator, and certainly it was an honor to have him here to meet with us on the opening night of the new school year. We wish him every success in the days to come.
Next on the agenda, under correspondence, there's a piece from Philip Carr of Good Energy regarding updated versions of his marketing brochure. This is a little brochure. It may be a little hard to see on camera. This is just a little marketing brochure that they're putting out concerning the community electricity aggregation. Just to refresh everybody's mind, this has been going on now for probably 6-7 months. We did join in with the rest of these communities, such as Acushnet, Albert, Carver, Dartmouth, Dedham, Douglas, Dracut, Fairhaven, Fall River, Freetown, Marion, Mattapoisett, New Bedford, Northbridge, Norton, Plainville, Rehoboth, Seacock, Somerset, Swansea, Westford, and Westport, in getting a pretty large-sized group of communities to purchase electricity at a discount rate. So they have come up with this little brochure, which is, a fold-out, and I'll read to you what it says on the brochure. Community electricity aggregation. Your community is participating in a bulk purchasing program designed to save you money on your electricity bill and protect you from volatile electricity prices. The benefits are savings on your electric bills beginning the winter of 2015-16, rate stability, and leave the program at any time without penalty. In other words, you can opt out with a phone call or a return letter that they will send you on a regular basis. I don't know if it's every 3 months or 4 months, but you can opt out anytime you want. Features are automatic enrollment, continue to call your utility with any service issues, continue to receive a single bill from your utility, and keep budget billing. For any information anyone might have, you can call 844-627-7244. Again, that number is 844-627-7244. Or you can go on their website to learn a little bit more, for those of you that have not had a lot of time to research the information, at http://serpid-muniagg.com. Again, I'll repeat that, http://serped-muniagg.com. And I think the most updated news there is they're shooting for this aggregation to establish a contract with a electricity provider and supplier before winter time, so that we'll be able to utilize some savings on our winter electricity usage, especially those with electric heat.
The only thing I'd like to say, Mr. Chairman, is, once again, for those who have not heard of this before, it applies to the National Grid customers in Dighton, outside of Mount Hope Village. Mount Hope Village, being serviced by the Taunton Municipal Lighting Plant, which is a municipal energy producer, are not going to be in the aggregation program. This does not involve municipal energy producers. But the National Grid customers outside of Mount Hope Village, which is all of the rest of the town outside of that northeast corner of Dighton, will be affected by this.
Thank you, Patrick.
You're welcome.
Last piece of correspondence we have is from our Treasurer Collector Mary Hathaway regarding property located on William Street. This is addressed to the Board of Selectmen from Mary Hathaway regarding a parcel of land which is described on map 16, lot 22-A as an apple. Please be advised that on August 28, 2015, in Land Court entered a foreclosure decree on property assessed to Lucille King. The property is located on 0 William Street. That's the number assigned to that parcel. On this date, the town became the owner of this property, therefore the Board of Selectmen should have them insured. This piece of land, if those that want to research it, is again map 16, lot 22-A. It has now become property of the town of Dighton. Since there are no buildings or anything built upon this lot, there's no need to insure it, because we automatically have liability insurance coverage as an umbrella policy on all our town-owned land. Next, we have some announcements. Want me to start? Want me to start? Okay. The Board of Health has Sharps disposal containers for sale for Dighton residents only at the office. $3 for a quart size, $6 for a gallon size, and $7.50 for a 2-gallon size. Once they're full, they can be brought back to the Board of Health for proper disposal at no additional cost. Recycling stickers are available for $1 for recycling containers of your choice. The dedication ceremony for the 9/11 memorial which was to have taken place on September 11th at 5 p.m., has been postponed until Saturday, October 3rd, 2015, at 10 a.m. I believe that is a Saturday. On November 11th, 2015, at 11 a.m. at Town Hall, there will be an unveiling of a 48-star United States flag given by the family of Byron E. Haskins, a World War II Bronze Star recipient. All are invited. For more information, you can contact our Veteran Service Agent, Donald Hershey, at 508-669-5027. There will be a special town election on Saturday, September 26, 2015, to fill a vacancy on the Board of Selectmen. It will be held at the Dighton Elementary School from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Like to read some?
Oh, absentee ballots for the upcoming, you thought I was gonna say I don't know my place, I'm daydreaming
I
over
was
here.
trying to catch you.
Absentee ballots, absentee ballots for the upcoming election are now available at the town clerk's office. These are for people who will be out of town or for medical reasons cannot attend the election on September 26, 2015. For more information, please contact the clerk's office at 508-669-5411. The fall special town meeting will be held on Monday, September 21st, 2015, at 7 p.m. at the Dighton Middle School. There is a prescription drug drop box now located at the Dighton Police Station. Please limit your disposal items to pill form prescriptions only. This is not for liquid medication or syringes. There is more information to follow. You may also contact the Dighton Police Station at 508-669-6711. The first annual sweet swap will be held Monday, November 2nd, 2015, from 5 to 7 p.m. at Sullivan Family Dental, 1209 Somerset Avenue, number 3, Dighton, Mass. Exchange your unopened Halloween candy for games, prizes, and snacks. All candy will be sent to U.S. troops in holiday care packages. This is held in conjunction with Saving Our Troops, Stoneham, Mass., and Cub Scout Pack 28, Taunton, Mass. Did we have an announcement about the cabbies walk?
I didn't get one yet.
October 10th. at 10 a.m.
October 10th at 10 a.m., yes. It's a walk around the track and a walk from there to the bridge and back.
They'll have the 1 mile around the track and then 5 miles total.
Yes, makes total 5 miles. And that is to raise, cabbies, they raise money for the financial needs of families who have members of, or a member afflicted with cancer. And we certainly want everyone to know who cares to participate, very worthy charity. And we thank the fire department and especially firefighter Tom Medeiros and his allies who have once again organized and sponsored with the help of the Cabbies organization, the promotion of this event.
Next on the agenda, old business, which I don't believe we have any.
No, we don't.
Pretty up to date. New business. First on the agenda, review, discuss, and act on a road opening permit for Columbia Gas of Massachusetts for 86 Main Street in Dighton. Again, this is purely for informational purposes to aware people of a possible slowdown on a certain street or road. This is from Columbia Gas, a letter which we answer in regards to an application stating permission is hereby granted for a road cut at the following location with all necessary appurtenances to install a new gas service at 86 Main Street, Dighton, Mass. I'll entertain a motion to approve this.
I move that a road opening permit be granted for 86 Main Street, Dighton, Mass.
I'm going to step down in a second, and just for the record, we've also, in the past month or so, added onto our acceptance and approval of road cuts, added wording to the effect that all work must be completed on the signing of this approval within 1 month and before November 30th. And also the other condition, Highway Superintendent, Mr. Thomas Ferry, must be notified within 72 hours of work. With that said, any further discussion?
Just once again to thank the administrative assistant for the excellent job putting those conditions in the letter. Well,
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Next on the agenda, review, discuss, and act on a road opening permit for the Dighton Water District at 442 Center Street, North Dighton. Again, this is an application and a response from the Board of Selectmen. Permission is hereby granted for a road cut at the following location. Install new water service at 442 Center Street, North Dighton, Mass. Again, with the two stipulations I just mentioned, will accompany every single approval that this board gives for any road cuts. Mr. Menges, entertain a motion to accept that road cut at 442 Center Street by the Dighton Water District.
so moved.
I'm going to step down in a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I should say aye. Motion carries. I don't know what I was waiting for, but you caught me.
An eye for an eye. Let's see.
And we have one more road cut to review, discuss, and act upon. And that's for Arnold Construction at 1091 Middle Street, Dighton, Mass. In response to an application and approval to grant a road cut to install a new water service at 1091 Middle Street, North Dighton, Mass. Do I hear a motion?
I move that a road opening permit be granted to Arnold Construction for 1091 Middle Street, North Dayton.
I'm gonna step down in a second. Any further discussion? If none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Motion carries. Last item under new business. Review, discuss, and act on the highway superintendent's request to set rates for hired equipment for the 2015-2016 winter season, and his recommendation of a 2% increase in the hired driver's rate. We received this request from Thomas Ferry, Highway Superintendent, directed toward the Board of Selectmen, concerning storm contractors, equipment, and hired drivers. By this letter, the board has voted on September 16, 2015, based on Thomas Ferry, Highway Superintendent's recommendation to set the following equipment and driver's rates for the 2015-2016 winter season. For a 4x4 pickup truck at the rate of $65 per hour. A 1-ton truck, $75 an hour. Trucks that are 25,000 pounds to 26,000 pounds, $75 an hour. 6-wheel trucks over 26,001 pound, $85 an hour. And a front-end loader with a 3-yard bucket, $110 per hour. And the rate increase for hired drivers, since there has not been an increase for these drivers since the year 2012, a 2% increase would increase their rate by 42 cents an hour. He has recommended that hourly pay become $21.86 per hour. And these are just for the drivers that we hire to drive our available snow equipment. So with that said, I will entertain a motion to approve the recommendations of Superintendent Ferry for his upcoming winter snow plowing help and equipment.
I so move.
I will step down in a second. Any other discussion? If none being, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There's none. All, that motion carries. Do we have any reports?
No reports.
We have many things going on, but as far as formalized reports to be given this evening, Mr. Chairman, no.
Thank you. Let's move right down to acknowledgements. At this time, I'd like to, as the Board of Selectmen, acknowledge an anonymous donation to Prime Time in the amount of $75.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
It's been a long day,
It has.
even though it's short. We do have a letter from the Dighton Council on Aging, Prime Time, for the Board of Selectmen from Sheila New, Assistant Program Manager. We are pleased to inform you that Prime Time has received a generous donation in the amount of $75. As usual, all donations are turned over to the town accountant and deposited in the Prime Time gift and donations account. Should you have any questions or need additional information, please do not hesitate to call. And the number, if you wish to call, is 508-669-6272. So we have a motion perhaps to accept, to gladly acknowledge a donation of $75 to the Primetime Gift and Donations account.
I move that the anonymous donation of $75 to the Primetime Gift account, September 14th, be accepted by this board with an expression of our gratitude to the unnamed donor.
I'll step down in a second. Any other discussion? If none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. That motion carries.
Did anything ever become of the stove over there? Why did we make out with that? We're still waiting to hear from
She was gonna get prices on a new one. We haven't heard anything further.
No, it can't be done with just replacing the part.
Yeah, for $400 or $500,
$500 part.
you're better off buying a new one. Because something else is gonna go on it. It's 15 years old. But Alice had assured me she'll get back to us with prices.
Did anybody contact Bristol Older Services about possibly helping out with the cost?
I haven't been made aware of. Next on the agenda, public input. Is that time again?
I just wanted to know, did you guys accept the document that Sean Urban had sent to you guys for us to put out with the town warrant?
You raise a good question. We did. However, excuse me just a moment, Mr. Chairman. Since this document was submitted to the board, the time elapsed under the bylaw for the Finance Committee to make final recommendations on 3 articles. So where we have awaiting Finance Committee recommendations as of 9/2, there were actually 3 articles left after they had met. Just a moment.
I thought we had put that on there, that was still waiting.
Yeah, but the bylaw says that within the last 10 days, actually within the last 10 days prior to posting the warrant, but that's obviously not practical. But within the last 10 days, if the Finance Committee has not acted, we have to deem the article approved. Therefore, Article 15, Article 17, and Article 23, which were awaiting recommendations, will be represented as having been deemed approved under Article 2, Section 3 of the general bylaws. So there is now a difference on this sheet. Your sheet actually has 7 articles awaiting recommendations as of the 2nd of September. But as of tonight, we have recommendations on all the articles.
Okay, so should I just check with the Finance Committee, send them an email, see if we'll quickly change it?
Well,
To have those 3 as deemed approved and check with them on what their recommendations were?
You can actually see what the town meeting warrant will look like. We have, the finished town meeting warrant is done.
Okay. So we'll just-
That warrant that will be handed out to the voters is finished. So, we will be printing it tomorrow.
We actually have a meeting here tomorrow at 10.
I'll let you.
So we can try to get it, I'll try to have Sean quickly update, oh, we know we can't update it without that tomorrow. Would you be around tomorrow if we finished it up, just to kind of give it a quick go over, someone?
Oh, we'll be around.
Okay. This way we, because I know Sean and I, we want to pass it out.
Yep.
We've got the town warrants already out, quite a few locations. So now we just want to go out and add that addition and then add it to our page online.
Sure.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Mrs. Goulart.
I'm surprised to hear the action that is being announced tonight regarding the 10-day period. I can remember town meetings when the entire warrant had recommendations made at town meeting. So to enforce this at this point now without notifying the Finance Committee first, rather questionable.
Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, I'm going to take a personal privilege. There is nothing rather questionable about enforcing a town bylaw as it is written.
Correct.
This board went to great lengths to accommodate the request of the Finance Committee Chairman. When we drafted the articles for this warrant, we used language that admitted of no choice between free cash or transfers or raise and appropriate. The Finance Committee Chairman asked us to allow a choice. We allowed the choice. We rewrote the articles so that it's either raise and appropriate and/or transfer. And the Finance Committee was permitted to weigh in with its recommendation concerning the one or the other. The bylaw does not actually mention transfers at all. The Finance Committee also made recommendations on 2 articles that were less than $300. We said nothing about that. However, we have a window within which we have to print a warrant. The Finance Committee left its meeting having said that it would meet the week prior. And the message that we received from the Finance Committee Chairman on Monday night was that you would meet a half hour prior on Monday night next week.
Correct.
That doesn't give us time to print a warrant. There's nothing questionable about invoking a bylaw to see to it that the people are properly informed. And the bylaw in question, which I personally don't approve of, if I were writing bylaws, that would not be the bylaw that I would prefer over the one that was adopted in 1920. I think the original bylaw was far superior to that 2000, the year 2000 substitute that was adopted. However, it is the bylaw. And for this board to meticulously look at the bylaw to make sure that we had the i's dotted and the t's crossed is nothing amiss. We are doing what a town meeting approved and voted, and which was then approved by the Attorney General and is now the law of the town.
And which hasn't been enforced for years. What
That's-
we're talking
that's-
about is selective enforcement. Now, I will say to you and the public, the reason why there were actually 4 that we didn't act on. You were there that night. One was because it's the Van Dyson Hall and the committee said we're not ready, so that's off to the future. The reason why we didn't act on the other 3 that relate to the building commissioner's request for money for software, money to reduce the tax rate, and the third one,
Land for the elementary
the
school.
elementary school land, was because we did not have sufficient information at the time to make the decision. Now, Mr. Aguirre is back. As a matter of fact, while he was on vacation, I sent an email thinking he might check it, and he did. And he said, when I get back, I'll be prepared. So he's coming to the meeting prior to town meeting. The elementary school land, nothing really new has come down the pike on that.
Yes, it has.
Not to us.
Yes, it has. We have, this board has gone the extra mile, and we have obtained a provision in the proposed purchase and sale agreement that will overcome your concerns about the contamination of the land. We have an assertion by the seller that they know of no contamination in the land, but also that we have a free hand to go in and have the land tested. So we have taken action to overcome the issues that the Finance Committee had concerning the quality of that land.
That information was not made public to the Finance Committee until just this minute. So the Finance Committee doesn't have the information.
If you would meet again this week, as you had planned to, you would have the information.
I will also point out to you that there was a question about whether or not we would meet. And also, there was the discussion that there are issues that didn't make the warrant, or that would be put off, that will be at the next special town meeting. That was part of the discussion. You weren't at that Finance Committee meeting, as I remember. But anyhow.
I'm not a member of the Finance Committee, but
Mr. was there. The public was there.
I'm not a member of the Finance Committee. The Finance Committee is an advisory board to the legislature of the town, and you operate on your own. When we know what the information is that you want, we've gone the extra mile to get it. However,
When are you going to give that to the Finance Committee?
when you meet, see you Monday night.
Thank you, you just confirmed.
You
what
said
I
you were
said.
going to meet this week.
We didn't have it.
Well, no, you
We didn't
didn't.
meet.
You didn't meet this week.
The other issue, money to reduce the tax rate. A number of the articles that the Selectman recommendation carries, raise and appropriate, the Finance Committee changed to, the ones that the Selectman had marked free cash transfer. The Finance Committee did raise and appropriate. There are certain expenditures that, if approved by voters, you do not pay from free cash. Operating expenses, if you had salaries on it. However, when you raise and appropriate, one of the last things you do, that's one of the reasons it's towards the end of the warrant. When you get everything figured out, that's when you say, okay, how much money can we take from free cash to reduce the tax rate? The warrant says $150,000. That's pittance. By going the raise and appropriate route, you get everything properly funded, which are basically budget items. You don't fund budget items from free cash, okay? So when you get that all settled, you know what you're going to raise and appropriate because you've got to be within the levy limit. Then you say, what do we get left in free cash? That's when the Finance Committee says, well, we could take X out of free cash and use it to reduce the tax rate. That's why it's one of the last things that we act on. So until you know everything, all the articles, you don't make a determination on free cash. But that's in effect how you reduce the tax rate, okay? So I did post an agenda. We have those articles on there. And I think the only other business is there's a request for a transfer, which is just a normal business item. So the Finance Committee will meet at 6:30 on the 21st at the middle school prior to town meeting to act on the 3 articles. And we will get the information relative to the purchase of the land at the elementary school and what you heard tonight.
Now, at the meeting, will you be able to speak up at the beginning?
Well, it's a regular Finance Committee meeting.
But I mean, at the actual town meeting, will you be able to speak up before the vote?
When the moderator calls the discussion, that's when you stand up and ask questions, make comments, whatever, yes.
This way you'll be able to tell what happened in this situation.
Yes, yes, so for these 3 articles, whatever the Selectmen recommended is what will be on the warrant, is what they're saying. What is on the warrant is not necessarily what the Finance Committee will actually recommend.
But you'll be able to state what you recommend. It won't be
At
on
the
the
town
paper,
meeting,
but
yes,
at least you'll be able
yes.
to, okay.
Yes, yes, so even though, and by the same token, if the Finance Committee voted to make a certain recommendation, let's say they decided it was raise and appropriate at the meeting on September the 1st, and we go to town meeting, and somewhere in the meantime, prior to us meeting that night, we find out, you know what, that shouldn't be raised and appropriate, that should be free cash. At the meeting that the Finance Committee will hold, it can change the vote, and then go into town meeting and say, we want to advise the people what we originally said was raised and appropriate. We've changed that, we voted tonight to make that free cash transfer, or whatever the source of funding may be, just in case there will be whether it be a grant or some other available funding. That's why the warrant is worded that way, raise and appropriate and/or transfer from certified free cash. I know that you have deadlines for the warrants. That's nothing new. We've had to deal with that time immemorial. But the question I have relative to
This warrant and the process by which it was produced are sound. I want to say the tradition is that the selectmen put forward or the department that wants a spending proposition puts forward a proposition. And in that proposition, we exert the leadership to say, raise and appropriate, which means it's added to the tax rate, or transfer from free cash, if free cash is available. And it is in the category of items that we do not ordinarily transfer, add to the tax rate if we can transfer free cash. The things that we ordinarily do not add to the tax rate are one-time expenses that will not become part of an operating budget in future years, or that are not customarily part of an operating budget. But some of these items that the Finance Committee came back with the discretion that we allowed them by wording the articles permissively, instead of putting our dime down in the article and saying free cash or raise and appropriate. We didn't. We said and/or, so that the Finance Committee could weigh in. Some of these articles that the Finance Committee have recommended be added to the tax rate are in the category which, in our judgment, does not traditionally warrant an addition to the tax rate when free cash is available.
And had you been at the Finance Committee meeting on the 1st...
And don't say that again. It's not incumbent upon a selectman to be there. Our job is to draw up this warrant, and we've done it. Don't fault a member of the Board of Selectmen for not being a member of the Finance Committee. You know that they're two distinct committees.
No, I didn't do that. I'm talking about attendance at an open public meeting, as people sitting in this room right now who attended know what I'm talking about.
Are you running against this board?
No.
I believe you are.
Mr. Menchie, repeatedly this board has allowed me to provide services to the town, to this board.
You're attacking the board of which you want to be a
I'm
member.
trying to explain something. I have a question about the warrant. May I ask?
You're not running for the board, Mrs. Goulet, you're running against it.
May I ask a question about the warrant, Mr. Chairman?
Correct.
Okay. The warrant that's posted out there on the board doesn't appear to be the same warrant that was in the Gazette. And I'm just wondering what happened between the two postings. I thought they were identical, and I looked at the Gazette and I noticed there were some differences. So I was just wondering why that was.
What is the question again, please?
What are the
There's a
differences?
warrant posted out there on the public posting board out here in the foyer. And there was I'll call it an advertisement, legal ad in the Gazette that had the warrant.
Article 2, Section 3 of the town bylaws expressly requires that the newspaper print a warrant with Finance Committee recommendations. When we posted the first warrant on August 13th, which you had to have in order to have a warrant to act upon, there were no Finance Committee recommendations.
Because we met September 1st.
We posted that warrant on August 13th without any Finance Committee recommendations. And that is the natural course of events. You have to have that warrant in order to be able to act on the financial articles. On August 13th, we posted it without recommendations. The bylaw expressly requires that the newspaper publication be with Finance Committee recommendations, and that is the difference between the two versions.
Well, the difference is that there are both Selectmen and Finance Committee recommendations on the printed warrant in the paper. That's what my question is. I've never seen that before.
No, there's no difference. All we did was to clarify. On this original draft warrant, on the original warrant, we have in the middle column the fund site that the Selectmen put forward with the article, transfer from free cash. In the cases where you changed it to raise and appropriate, to raise the tax rate, we made it clear that this transfer from free cash is Selectmen suggest, but over here we put Finance Committee recommends raise and appropriate. But this did not change at all. Our transfer from free cash is still there. as it was on the warrant that was posted on August 13th.
What I just said was, I have not seen a warrant posted that carried both recommendations, and I was wondering why. Whether you call yours not a recommendation but a suggestion, I'm just asking why.
The
Now,
warrant,
as far as the levy limit goes, as far as items that would be, that you might suggest were free cash.
the levy limit's not involved here.
And the FinCom said raise and appropriate. My personal opinion, I'm not speaking for the committee, $150,000 is not enough money to put in there to reduce the tax rate. Any item that the Finance Committee put down as raise and appropriate that you suggested be transfer from free cash can be covered in the article that says reduce the tax rate by X. I don't know what the amount is going to be. But in effect, when you have it as a raise and appropriate, you are within the levy limit.
The total that you recommended be added to the tax rate, the total that you recommended be added to the tax rate, I believe, I could be mistaken, I don't memorize these figures when I'm drinking my breakfast coffee, but it's approximately $59,000, which would make the amount of the tax rate reduction in effect $209,000.
Unless the Finance Committee decides to put a higher amount in there. That's what I'm saying. We haven't discussed that number. My own personal opinion is 150 is too low, but I'm not speaking for the Finance Committee when I say that. That's why that's one of the ones that we have to act on.
With everything that was, with everything that was done, when all of the figures were put in their proper places, we had about $232,000 left in free cash. That's as low as we cared to go. And therefore, when we put forward the article, which is our responsibility, when we wrote the article, we put in what we thought was as high a prudent number to cut taxes out of free cash as possible, which was $150,000. But it was in anticipation that $60,000 worth of other articles that the Finance Committee converted to raise and appropriate were going to be free cash.
And that's why I just explained to you about raise and appropriate within the levy limit and then using a higher number potentially to reduce the tax rate so that those expenses fall within what can be appropriated under the levy limit. So yes, when the Finance Committee looks at that whole package, and I'm talking the package that starts July 1st and will be summarized when we have our last town meeting that will affect the tax rate. You have to look at the entire package so that we look at the number, what's left in the levy limit, what's left in free cash. As of the meeting we had on September the 1st, and I also don't have the exact number in front of me, we did have money left in the levy limit. We were not up there. But I believe the number that I got from the FinCom member that tracks the money as we're going through it. I don't do that, I do the minutes, but he's tracking that. I think we still got about $900,000 in free cash. Now, one of the things we recommended was, different from what you had, was the OPEB account. $400,000 was requested. That was discussed, and the decision was $275,000, and that's based on the auditor's recommendation on where the town should be at this given point in time, based on everything they looked at, where we should be with OPEB. So $275,000 will bring us to where we need to be. So that freed up money in free cash right there. All right, so each one of those things that's changed, all right, does affect the levy limit, it affects free cash. But again, a very important article that you're telling us that obviously the moderator will ask for discussion so the Finance Committee can speak up. But the amount of money that should be in the amount recommended to reduce taxes, I mean, to not allow that, I think is just wrong. Whatever we can determine is an allowable amount to reduce the tax burden is what should be voted on. But.
What do you
again,
think it should be, Mrs. Goulart?
I would have to look at the rest of the articles. I'm guessing numbers right now. I know we're in the levy limit, and I know free cash was around $900,000 when we finished the meeting, okay? We did okay the $500,000 for the capital account. The big one I remember was the OPEB account, okay? But again, when I talk about the $150,000 not being enough, that's personal opinion. I have not discussed that with any committee members. All I'm saying is, that's an important article, and the Finance Committee should be able to make a recommendation for a higher amount.
With the prior year's free cash, I don't know what the balance was, but I know that the balance of the $1,700,000 that was certified this year, after all of the free cash obligations of the warrant that we proposed, would have been $230-some thousand. And as far as OPEB is concerned, and that's, if there were $900,000 left in free cash with the free cash from prior years or whatever, I know nothing about that. As far as OPEB is concerned, the town treasurer herself submitted an article for $400,000 to be deposited in the OPEB account.
Yes.
We have a report from the Roselli auditing firm that indicates that because of the age of our workforce, the town is faced in less than 10 years, probably 7 years now, in view of the fact that it's been some time since he made his prediction, of an annual unfunded liability for post-employment retiree health benefits of $3 million a year. We don't always have $1 million in free cash to transfer into the OPEB account.
Never have had.
If we have $400,000 to put in that account, God bless it, because if we don't, when it comes due, that's going on the tax rate for our children. What we banked, what we proposed in this warrant be banked, and that's part of it. And there was also the $400,000, let me finish with that first. The $400,000 was in an article that the treasurer submitted. We did not change it, and in the finished warrant, you're talking about not changing the warrant, we didn't alter the warrant. It still says it has $400,000 transfer from free cash, which is what we both boards agreed that should be a free cash transfer. And it says in the right-hand column, $275,000 recommended by the Finance Committee. We also recommended that $500,000 go to a municipal capital stabilization fund.
Yes, from free cash.
That's $900,000 invested in the town's future, and which will prevent a calamitous rise in the taxes in the future. $500,000 in a capital stabilization account will get the town better terms when we have to borrow for such things as adding to the elementary school, which is foreseeable within the next couple of years.
No disagreement on 500,000.
Well,
The 400,000 in OPEB, there was discussion with the treasurer, and that's when the audit was brought into, or I should say the recommendations of the auditor were brought into it. At the meeting, town accountant was there, this was discussed, and the 275 was felt would bring us to where the auditor says we have to be. Now, one of the other important points about OPEB, and there is legislation either proposed or pending to address this issue. We've discussed this at MMA repeatedly. There's a meeting coming up in October, the legislative breakfast meeting. That's usually when these come up. And we get updates on OPEB. As of the last meeting, over a year ago, when I brought OPEB up, what we were all advised, and this was a large group of people from around Bristol County, cities and towns, what we were advised was that there's legislation pending or in the works that would allow a community in an extreme emergency to tap into the OPEB money to use it to handle the emergency, not related to the true meaning of OPEB. And the caution has always been, from MMA to the communities, and there are legislators present at these meetings, that remember, whatever you put into OPEB, you can never touch. There have been revisions over the years to the OPEB law, and this is a major piece of legislation that everyone is looking for. And when I say, dire emergency, my guess is there'll be a connection to the Department of Revenue that would have to approve a community accessing the money to meet an emergency. They would determine if it were really a dire emergency. But communities have been holding back, putting a lot of money into OPEB because they're looking for this change. And as bad as our liability looms, there are a lot of places out there that have opened accounts and didn't have to put a cent in them. So at least we're making progress in addressing the tax issue. But this was another reason when we discussed this at the Selectman, this Finance Committee meeting, was that just remember, when you put it in, you can't get it out, and let's hope the legislation passes. This town may never need to access it in a dire emergency, but it's a nice thing to have, and that's one of the reasons that this was done. Thank you.
Right. At this point, I'm sure there'll be a lot of discussion on the floor, special town meeting, and that's a place that it will occur at. At this time, any closing statements?
I just wanted to say, John Horner apparently was unable to be with us tonight. It was very refreshing to see the work going on to trim the trees at the Segregance School to prevent damage during hurricane season, and also to expedite the painting of the outside walls that's about to begin. And Nicholas Sisson, the junior full-time member of the Highway Department, was in the bucket up in the treetops cutting the limbs, and John Horner, who is going to be leaving the Highway Department after having been a summer part-time worker. He'll be going to BCC, and after a time certain, he'll be transferring to Bridgewater State College, if all that he has planned occurs. He is in college to become a personal trainer. He'll actually be personal trainer to individual athletes. I have no doubt that wherever his career takes him, locally or beyond the boundaries of the town, he will have fond memories of his summer 2015 working with the Highway Department. Certainly he was an asset to the department, and it would have been nice to have had him here tonight, but after the day he put in today, I hope he gets a good night's rest before he has to go back to it tomorrow. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
I'd just like to present one more reminder, because we won't be on air again before Monday. Special town meeting, 7 p.m., Dighton Middle School, Monday night. It's this coming Monday, September 21st. We hope you all take a a little more active interest in attending some of these meetings. It proves to be an interesting meeting, and I think it behooves all the residents, with the amount of monies that are available and ways to spread it around, that you all have a say in giving your opinions on what you think is right and what's in the best interest of this town. With that said, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Well, I'll step down a second. Any other discussion? If none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Good night, everybody. Good night, Cable, and thank you all, and see you all Monday night.